Hey everyone, it is Hazenator back again for a little bit of aftercare talk. If you hear any commotion in the background, it is my cat. She's a fucking asshole, enough said. So, my last video that I posted, I talked about my typical aftercare routine, which mostly consists of hustle butter and washing with whatever soap I have handy. For my last two tattoos, though, I've actually modified my routine just a little bit, just to kind of play around with the different aftercare routines and all that, and taking advice from a lot of friends in the community. So for my last tattoo, done by my favorite artist, Casey Wolfkiller, out of Mi Familia Tattoo in Tulsa, I actually went ahead and tried Tegaderm for the first time, and honestly, it did not go that badly. I've heard lots of mixed reviews about it, but quite frankly, when I watch the videos of people trying it out, usually the negative ones are done wrong. So I thought I would just go ahead and give it a shot because it's a smaller tattoo. I'd like to see how it works anyway. So that being said, this is just kind of my take on it. For those who are unfamiliar with what Tegaderm is, it is basically just this, I like to call it cling film on steroids, but when I described it to the guy at Target like that, he thought that I was just talking about steroids. It takes all kinds. But basically, it comes in different forms. The only kind that I was able to find came like this. And there's different even brands of it out there. A lot of my UK friends use Tegaderm. I've heard Dermalize Pro is fantastic. This was just the only thing that I could find at Target on kind of a whim, so I just kind of went for it. If I were to use this on a piece in the future, I would definitely just order like a roll of Tegaderm because it's more cost effective, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. It was on the front of my hip, over like in the thigh area-ish. I am gonna warn y'all, I am pale as a mofo. I am skinny as a mofo, so this might be a little disturbing to some viewers. I apologize. And yes, I am in my pajamas because it's fall break and I don't have time to be worrying about pants right now. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Okay, so as you can see, it's this little ram skull right here. It's about like palm sized, you know. It was just on my artist flash sheet. My hip sort of begins like here, thighs down here, so it's just right at that junction. So there's a lot of movement that goes on with that. And obviously when I'm wearing pants, it covers it up and can cause a lot of friction. But this is it, fully healed. I got it done less than a month ago, so I'd say that's not too bad. So that being said, this is basically what it is. A lot of the routines that I've heard, basically you get your tattoo, you go home, wash it off, dry it off real well, cover it with this stuff, just one layer of it, and then wait about 24 hours. And as anyone who's had a tattoo before knows, within that first 24 hours, your tattoo gets a little disgusting. It leaks plasma, excess ink, and all that. So after 24 hours, you take off the first layer, wash your tattoo really well, dry it again, and then put on a second layer, and then wait a couple of days. It kind of depends person to person. And then take it off, and then you should be squared away. One person in particular that I tried to sort of model my aftercare routine after was Henri Straum out of Boldest Brass Tattoo in Liverpool. He is one of my favorite artists, bucket list artist even. He uses Dermalize Pro. I try to follow along with his routine pretty closely when I was testing mine out, and it worked out pretty well. So as far as what my routine consisted of, again, I applied that first layer as soon as I got home and washed it off really well and all that. Waited about 24 hours until it was getting a little gross looking. I was scared shitless to take this off. A lot of people that I've seen, they just take off the Tegaderm without running any warm water over it. They just think they can rip it right off. Don't do that, because that stuff is sticky as hell. It's made to last for days on your tattoo. So if you do that, that's just gonna hurt really bad. And even I've heard of people like ripping off scabs that way and all that. So what I did was I got in the shower, did the rest of my showering routine, washing my hair, face, body, etc., exfoliation, all that, and In the meantime, that hot water was running over my tattoo, and by the time I got to taking it off, I obviously washed my hands in the shower. Then I just peeled off really slowly. It didn't hurt at all. Honestly, it was a piece of cake. So once I was done with that, got out of the shower, washed my tattoo obviously, patted it dry, and then let it just kind of hang out for like an hour to make sure that it was nice and dry. And then I went and put on my second layer of Tegaderm, and I kept that on for, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 days. I didn't make it the full 7, but it was definitely like 5 days. And then I noticed that the surrounding area of my tattoo was beginning to peel a little bit, like the Tegaderm itself was coming off, and that was just kind of bugging the shit out of me, so I just took it off. I probably could have kept it on for another couple of days and been fine, but it just really bugged me. So took it off, washed it, dried it, and then applied just a little bit of hustle butter, because obviously, as I've said before, it does not take very much of this. I will have had this tub of hustle butter for a year in December, and I'm still not even halfway through it, and I've gotten quite a few pieces done since getting this, so good on y'all for something so cost effective. And then I just kept reapplying that hustle butter when I needed it. I washed it every day, and within about, I think it was about 10 days altogether from when I got my tattoo to when I felt it was pretty much fully healed. There were still a few like dry spots, but other than that, 10 days is pretty damn good, especially because I didn't do my normal tattoo conditioning, so my immune system was pretty shot. I had had a tattoo done about a week before then, so I really wasn't in the best shape to be getting tattooed. So the fact that it healed that quickly, when usually it takes me about 2 weeks minimum for a tattoo to heal, I think that that is pretty damn fantastic. So as far as the pros of Tegaderm goes, I found it to be incredibly low maintenance, which was awesome for me, especially with the colder months about, and like where I got my tattoo. It's a very high mobility area. The field of work that I'm in doesn't allow me to wear fucking Daisy Dukes all day, so I had to keep it covered all the time. And you know, like how clothes rubbing against your tattoo can just irritate it. It makes it difficult to even concentrate on what you're doing. So having that Tegaderm there covered it completely, so I didn't have to worry about sleeping on it, or, you know, my clothes rubbing against it, or like taking out the trash at work. I wasn't worried about my tattoo getting contaminated, so that was really cool. It was also really comfortable for me. Again, with the area that it was in, usually when you get a tattoo in a high mobility area, obviously you're agitating that skin rather frequently. So, you know, that can make it to where when the scabbing phase comes up, it just really freaking sucks. But I found using that Tegaderm almost eliminated that scabbing phase. It was still pretty dry once I took off the Tegaderm and everything, like the last couple of days. It was still pretty dry, but I didn't find it to be nearly as scabby as what I had anticipated, especially with it being mostly black. So that was really cool. So obviously I would totally use it again, and I plan on using it again. As far as the cons go, though, just some stuff to keep in mind. As I said at the very beginning, this stuff is not as easily accessible as what I would like it to be. I don't know if it was just the place that I went. I went to Target just on my way home from the shop because I decided that I was going to try it out sort of on a whim. So this was the only packaging they had for it. It took me 3 sheets of this because it's only 2 3/8 inches by 2 3/4 inches, the patches are. So that's a pretty small patch, and I ended up having to use like 3 different kinds just for 1 layer of that Tegaderm. So that, and it was pretty expensive. I think it was like 12 or 13 bucks for 8 patches, which I did not really care for. Again, I don't know if it was just the branding or what the deal was. So if you can, like, I know when I go to get my back piece done, I'm not going to probably be using Tegaderm. I'm probably going to use either Tegaderm or Dermalize Pro and get the actual strips of it that take up a little bit more space, which I find will be more cost effective, plus just a little easier to apply and remove. But I mean, that's whatevs. Not really a horrible con in my opinion. Also, it has been known to leave kind of a sticky residue. Even if you wash it really well, typically there might still be a little bit of adhesive left over, even if it's just a little bit. And some people think that they can just like kind of pick it off. You don't want to do that because that adhesive is attached to your tattoo. You take off the adhesive, you might be removing chunks of your tattoo. So what Henri Straum recommended was using hustle butter to kind of get that off. Just some oil-based substance, kind of like if you have a sticker stuck on your window or something, you might use like a lemon or orange oil to get it off. This is mostly just all natural oils, so that took it off pretty nicely. And other than that, the only other con I had was, again, it was kind of tempting to peel off after a couple of days, because I'm that kind of person. I pick at things a lot, like whether it's scabs or, you know, blackheads or whatever the case may be. So having something stuck to my body for that long was kind of bothersome. But at the same time, like, it's way better than dealing with the scabbing phase on my tattoo. So would I recommend Tegaderm, Saniderm, what have you? Cling film on steroids, that's what we're calling it. Would I recommend cling film on steroids? Absolutely. I think it's great for smaller tattoos that you don't want to pay a lot of mind to, and it's great for really big pieces because obviously you want your aftercare to be as low maintenance as possible when you're dealing with bigger pieces. You got enough shit to worry about. So I would not only recommend it, but I plan on using it again myself. And I think that pretty much covers it. If y'all have any questions, concerns, comments, posies, queries, feel free to contact me. And look forward to the next go around. See you later.